I wasn't planning on making another commentary video for a couple days, but I decided to play the event and I wanted to see people's thoughts on it because I only play Survivor and I thought the event was pretty cool. But after seeing people's reactions to it and actually understanding how much of a problem this has, I decided I needed to make another video. One that hopefully won't make me look like a ginormous clown that clearly needs to go outside and touch some grass. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. But anyways, this event is a ginormous mess. The mechanics look really cool, and truth be told, they are super cool at face value, but they are massively unbalanced, which is kind of on par for the course of playing Dead by Daylight. I mean, especially for the 10 years now. Oh goodness, this game has been out for 10 years. But it's insane to me that this is the 10th anniversary, and this is also considered one of the worst events in Dead by Daylight's history. That is not very good for behavior. And if it was just generic and underwhelming, it wouldn't be that bad, I don't say. It would definitely be much better than what it is currently. But the way it's framed right now, this is a freaking mess. And I'm just going to give you an idea of what exactly is going on with the event. So if you don't know how the event works, let me paint you a picture. When you're playing as Survivor, there are 2 tables that are set around the map. And there are also multiple food carts that are glowing. And, they look like generic carts. I'll probably put up a picture here on screen for you to see them. And you have to go to the carts, collect a morsel. And a morsel, there's 3 different kinds, and they give different effects, but we'll get to that in just a minute. You take those morsels, and you have to put 4 of them on the tables. You just need to get 4 morsels on the table, and there will be a payoff. You can also eat the morsels, which is also pretty cool. And when you eat the morsels, you get different effects for a short period of time. So to run you through what the morsels do, first there is creamy pasta. And what happens is when you place, the 4 morsels on the table, you get healed 1 health state. So if you're just injured, you get fully healed. If you're on the ground, you get picked up, that kind of things. You also gain the ability to rebuild pallets and pick them up when they're dropped. So just think of apocalyptic ingenuity and of course any means necessary. Another thing about the morsels is that whichever morsel it is, it'll show you once the match begins, like menu special, and it'll tell you what to do. And depending on which morsel it is, there will also be a global effect. For creamy pasta in specific, pallets will slowly begin to rebuild themselves as the trials goes on, which is pretty good. The next one is stuffed trotters, which the global effect is whenever a generator is complete or a survivor is hooked, killers and survivors will gain haste. Now, of course, if a gen is complete, then the survivors will get haste, and if you hook a survivor, the killer will get haste. Pretty self-explanatory, and I'm sure you don't need a high IQ for me to know that. And when eaten, the survivors will be launched forward really quickly in a single direction. You cannot move at all in these directions. And of course, when you place all 4 down, you get healed again, just like creamy pasta, and faster actions like repair speed and healing. And I'll just to keep this in mind, this is all for 60 seconds. Once the 60 seconds are up, then the match goes back to normal. Finally, we have the bait Chema Bears, which the global effect is they'll spawn portals around the map. When eaten, they will reveal portals that are in close range of you. And when you place all 4 down, you, once again, get healed, and then portals will spawn randomly. And if you're carrying an item, it'll get refilled. If you are not carrying an item, you gain an item. On top of that, when there is only 1 generator remaining, then it goes into the dessert phase, in which survivors can no longer pick up morsels and gain those effects. But you can then get desserts, and all you need to do is walk up to a cart and you'll instantly eat the desserts. You don't need to carry it around or anything. And it'll give survivors and killers special boosts like haste, undetectable, elusive, the newest status effect you can get. Now you might be sitting there thinking,
hey, that's pretty good.
And truth be told, it is pretty good. It's really cool to hear all that stuff out loud. For survivors. If you had a keen ear, or basic eyesight, and read the title and saw the thumbnail, you'll notice that I called this terrible. Let me ask you a question. Did you notice how many things I listed for survivors and not for killers with the morsels? Yeah, it's quite a lot. So the only logical solution, is you would need to give killers their own really powerful items to counter the survivors to keep this event perfectly balanced, as all things should be, of course. So that pegs another question. What did behavior give killers to help them get a good chance at this event? Absolutely f***ing nothing. Everything I just listed is 90% for survivors. There are very few things a killer gets in this event. Now, behavior did give one mechanic to killers, which you can get automatically at the start of the trials. You don't have to do anything. You just instantly get it. Is a poison mechanic. So what it does is it works like plague. You shoot the poison, and if it hits a pallet, gen, vault, or you can even shoot it at the banquet tables, they get poisoned. You can also shoot it at survivors. When a survivor is poisoned, they gain a stamina bar at the very bottom of the screen, and they have limited stamina. Once you run out, you are forced to walk until, you regain your stamina. And it lasts for probably about 30 seconds. So if you're out in the open and you get poisoned, unless there's a pallet nearby or you're on the game, you're screwed. I'm sorry. But as soon as you're hit by a killer with M1 or secondary, the poison just instantly goes away. They also cough like they're being puked on by plague. Killers don't even get to eat the morsels, so all those amazing effects, like I already said, are for survivors and survivors only. Oh, on top of that, whenever the dessert phase begins, poison is disabled, meaning that one saving grace for killer is now freaking thrown in the trash. So all these combined make it basically impossible to play against anyone who has their egos get a bi-monthly checkup at the doctors. So imagine that, but with competent survivors, that's really terrifying to think about. And here's why we got it. You see, it's because behavior has no idea how to balance DBD anymore. The last year has been horrible balancing-wise, because behavior keeps either nerfing killers or buffing survivors way too much. That sometimes the only way to lose a survivor is to intentionally throw the game, which they will then use to say that the game is killer-sided. And this has been a problem for years now, but it has only gotten worse in the last year. Even if the killer gives survivors more chance, a lot of times survivors will still choose to throw the game and be ginormous babies about this. And it ruins it for everybody, not just for them, but it ruins it for the killer and their teammates. There's never been a more revealing video of DBD's entitlement other than Minskull's video about DBD entitlement. So behavior really doesn't know who to balance the game around anymore. And here's the thing. I don't even really blame them, because a lot of the entitled survivor mains, they pay money into this game. So they have a voice. They have the same voting rights as you and me when they go up to that table and vote, or when they go onto Twitter or Blue Sky, or whatever the fuck they use. They say, "Hey, I don't like this. This sucks. It's for baby killers." But they only play one side. They never even think about touching killer, and that's coming from me. I play 95% survivor, and this game mode for me is great. But when I see how other people talk about it, I don't like it as much. And I have gotten to the point where I really think the game needs to be balanced in favor of killer more than survivor. Survivors are supposed to be the victim role. They're supposed to be the role that is not always supposed to win, and that are supposed to not have the most advantages. I still think this game needs to have a 60-40 split, with 60% being in killer's favor, and the other 40% being in survivor's favor. Now here's the sad thing. This is not a good look for people who potentially want to play DBD. And it's also a terrible thing for killers because this shows that behavior is just going to keep catering to these toxic survivors who ruin the health of the game for most people. A lot of survivors don't even like them. A lot of survivors think it needs to be a good split between the two and balancing. It needs to be, in my opinion, because it's two roles. That's 50-50, if not a little bit around that. It also ruins it for new players because they come in and see this game that's celebrating its 10th anniversary. That's a milestone. I mean, each year it's a milestone, but this is a big milestone because 10 years is a very long time and has a lot of significance to most people. And when they see not only an extremely toxic player base to the point where sometimes your rivals give you second chances and everything, and people still choose to throw the game, and a horrible game mode on top of that, they're just going to be like, why do I even want to play this game? And eventually, us older players are going to get sick and tired of it, and we're going to want to move on to other games. That's not very good. Now, and of course, most gaming communities are pretty toxic. But with DBD, I feel like, I really think most people will agree with me, when 1 out of 4 survivors gives up, that basically guarantees that, at best, one person is going to survive, especially when it's early on in the match. It basically guarantees that the killer is winning that. And that's only because the survivors give up. If you watch a lot of footage where the survivor starts trash talking the killer in in-game chat, chances are that survivor did not play very well to begin with. And it's crazy to me. It really is crazy to me. And this is all coming from the fact that you just have to have basic knowledge, and maybe some tips here and there, like the Otstarva tips and stuff like that. But those tips can show you that this game is not killer-sided, not in the slightest. And it just shows how very easy it is for a survivor to win, sometimes while just playing on autopilot. Ugh. It's going to get to the point where the only people who play this game are not people who are passionate about the game, its developers, its licenses, or anything like that. It's only going to be the people who have a toxic relationship with this game. Some of Dead by Daylight's most positive content creators are going to eventually give up. They're going to move on to other games. That's not a good thing. I'm still going to grind this event, though, because I want to get all my killers to Prestige 9 before I pursue another Prestige 100. But I'm sick of the way the balancing in this game is going. And I'm not even a killer main. But that's all I have for you guys. Let me know if you agree or not. You probably do, but I don't know. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.